I'm the site coordinator here at the Civil War Museum. Today we're putting on a special event. It's special for us because with COVID the past 2 years, we've been unable to do any sort of living history programming outside. So today we had members of First Michigan engineers come out and we're doing a Civil War Technology Day. The engineers are demoing some of the equipment, firearms, movements of the engineers, as well as
First of all, my
Light
name is
Artillery.
Nita Hunter, and I'm
Doing
producer of Archie
fire
Productions.
demonstrations of their
And
every hour out
welcome
the hour.
to
So make
today's
sure you
show.
come out and
I
check
want
that
to
out
start
as
with a
well.
little bit of a
So at the
confession.
start of the day,
I can't hear you.
Cowboys are my weakness. So we are thrilled to be up here on the stage.
there we go. So part of the day is Brian and the First Michigan Engineers have a collection of 23 letters. These are original Civil War letters written by Second Lieutenant Albert Culver, a Company E of the First Michigan, that the group is donating to the permanent collection of the Civil War Museum. So this is a very important contribution. Brian and I have been working on this for about 2 years.
2020.
Yes.
That's our original plan, yes.
So I invited them to come up and receive recognition for the donation to the museum, and then they talk to you a little bit about the group itself and Culver and the letters.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I am First Sergeant Brian Conroy. Just as a background for the letters, in 2017, we were contacted by Albert Culver's great grandson who lives in the range of Colorado. And he mentioned in the email, I have these letters, they're getting older just like me, and nobody else in the family wants them. Do you want them? So we said yes. So yeah, we're happy to donate the letters. And then, so yes, so that's the history on the letters and where they came from. We, as a regiment, the regiment has been around since 1988. 1987. We're out of the Chicago area, and there are various engineering reenacting regiments across the country, but we're actually the only ones who actually go out and portray combat engineers. We fight as engineers. Plus, we've also built in our regiment past bridges, signal tower, Chabot debris, fortifications, things like that. So we are in the Chicago area. Anything you guys want to say about us? All right, short and sweet.
New members are welcome.
Yes, we're always looking for new members. So if you want to, or if you know somebody, yes, then we are camped out there by the CLA.
But we want to thank you for the important donations. The museum looks at the Civil War through the lens of the upper Midwest. So soldiers that came from Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. So the fact that this collection is coming here to our museum fits perfectly into our overall mission to interpret the war through the lens of those soldiers from the upper Midwest. So we can't thank Brian and the group enough. I think they deserve another round of applause.
These is they will actually be joining letters of another member of First Michigan Company that the Michigan Museum already has up in their research library.
Yeah.
So we will have 2 members who original members of the regiment who have their letters. So
Thank you so much.
thank you, sir.
And now we'll turn it over to
I'm really catching you off the cuff now. Thank you, Michigan engineers. But I was reading in the paper that the Civil War Museum has a tunic from the war that's on display. Can you talk to the audience about that a little bit?
I sure can. Upstairs, we opened it 2 weeks ago, a new exhibit. We do temporary shows here at the museum. They run in varying lengths from 3 months, maybe up to about a year. The temporary show that we just debuted 2 weeks ago details the story of Ohio in the Civil War. What made Ohio unique? Who were some of the people from Ohio who served? Well, we contacted the Dawes Arboretum, which is in Marietta, Ohio, in the extreme southeast corner of the state. A man by the name of Ephraim Dawes fought with the 53rd Ohio. He was one of the soldiers in that regiment. He was grievously wounded in 1864 by a Confederate bullet. It basically took off the lower part of his jaw. He survived that wound, and the frock coat that Ephraim Dawes was wearing while he was wounded and as he was transported from the battlefield in North Georgia to Chattanooga to Nashville and back to Ohio, is on display upstairs. You can see the actual results of that wound, and it's rather bloodstained. It's an incredible story because Dawes survived. He came back to Ohio. Physicians made an artificial lower jaw for him. They used portions of his cheek to craft a lip for him. He was able to teach himself how to speak again. He grew a beard. Very successful businessman up until his passing in 1895. So I think it's an incredible story of just grit and determination to get well and to recover from that wound. But also from the medical side of things, we don't think of that sort of technology or that sort of procedure taking place 160 years ago. So please, I invite you when the program is over it's directly above us, so you just take the elevator
how
upstairs.
wonderful. I feel good vibes already.
Thank you, Nina, for reminding me about that.
All right.
Enjoy, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out.
All right. Good afternoon. For those of you who might not know me, I'm Nita Hunter with RG Productions, and we're doing the radio play presentation today. We're thrilled to be invited to this inaugural event, and we already know that we'll continue this in the future. So when Doug asked if our group wanted to belong to this event and that we would have the Chicago Light Artillery showing their technology, and then we would have the Michigan engineers showing their technology, I wasn't quite sure. I accepted, of course, right away, and then we had to think about what the actual story would be. And through conversations, we all landed on The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. So the reason why we chose this play is because we're allowing you to learn about what the technology was in the Civil War, but now bringing you in, hopefully in a very visceral way, so that you can see how that technology affected the men on the battlefield. Also, we are very widely known for doing the Kenosha Big Read, and people, I think, enjoy seeing a good piece of literature done out loud. We've done The Grapes of Wrath, Help Me Out Here, so The Grapes of Wrath, many other big reads, let's just say that. Right, Di? We've done them all, but they're not doing it lately, but that's why we chose it, because it's bringing literature to life, and I'm betting you, how many of you have ever read the story, The Red Badge of Courage? I'm super excited to see that. I had not. So we'll present you today. It's about an hour-long performance. We've got live and recorded sound effects. We tried to coordinate with the light artillery outside so that when there's a battle scene with cannons, they're also going to be firing off their cannons, and we have varying degrees of success with that. So we're enhancing that with the computer. But anyway, enjoy today's show. We're so thrilled to be invited here to present this to you. It's right here for us. So thank you for coming out.
Good afternoon. RG Productions' presentation of The Red Badge of Courage, the iconic Stephen Crane novel of the Civil War, is being performed in conjunction with today's Civil War Technology Living History Day. Outside, you've had or will have the opportunity to see the advances in technology that were used by artillery and engineering soldiers on the battlefields during the Civil War. But here, inside, you'll experience the effects of that technology in a very real way. Stephen Crane's novel, The Red Badge of Courage highlights the courage and bravery of a young Civil War enlistee, Henry Fleming, who flees from the field of battle of Chancellorsville. Overcome with shame, he longs for a wound, a red badge of courage. To counteract his cowardice, when his regiment once again faces the enemy, Henry acts as standard bearer who carries the flag. The many battle scenes the group will reenact include live sound effects, both on stage and outdoors with the Chicago Light Artillery and the Michigan Engineers. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Red Badge of Courage.
Yes, we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
In the troubled times of the American Civil War, there was a youthful private who had dressed for a dream, not dressed, but he had dreamed of battles all his life. He dreamed of vague and bloody conflicts which had thrilled him with their sweep and fire. In visions, he had seen himself in many struggles.
Ma, I'm going to enlist.
Don't be a fool, Henry.
Marching to the field, boys, we're going to the fight, shouting the battle cry of freedom, and we bear the glorious stars for the Union and the right, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
Ma, I did it. I enlisted.
The Lord's will be done, Henry. Now you watch out in this here fighting business. You watch out and take good care of yourself. Don't go thinking you can lick the whole rebel army at the start, because you can't.
I know.
You are just one little fellow amongst a whole lot of others, and you've got to keep quiet and do what they tell. I know how you are, Henry.
Ma.
Now I've knit you 8 pair of socks, Henry, and I've put in all your shirts because I want my boy to be just as warm and comfortable as any in the army.
It's getting late.
And always be careful and choose your company. There's lots of bad men in the army, Henry, and now I don't want you to ever do anything that you would be ashamed to let me know about. Just think as if I was watching you. If you keep that in your mind always, I guess you'll come out all right. You must remember your father too, child, and remember, he never drunk a drop of liquor in his life and seldom swore a cross oath.
Ma, I gotta go.
I don't know what else to tell you, Henry, except that you should never do no shirking on my account. If it so be a time comes when you have to be killed or do a mean thing, Henry, why, don't think of anything except what's right.
I won't, Ma.
Now, I've put a cup of blackberry jam in your bundle because I know you love it above all things. Goodbye, Henry. Watch out and be a good boy.
When the youth looked back down from the gate, he could see his mother's brown face, upraised and stained with tears. He bowed his head and went on, feeling suddenly ashamed of his purposes. The cold passed reluctantly from the earth, and the retiring fogs revealed an army out on the hills resting. Slowly, Henry's regiment awakened and began to tremble with the eagerness of rumors.
We're going to move tomorrow. We're going way up the river, cut across and round behind them.
Ah, that's a lie.
I tell you, the Army's going to move.
Well, you don't know everything in the world, do you?
Didn't say I knew everything in the world.
Ah, what are you talking about? How do you know this?
I heard it from a very reliable friend.
Who had heard it from a cavalryman, who had heard it from his brother, who had heard it from an orderly at division headquarters.
You can believe it or not, just as you like. I don't care a hang.
It's a lie. I don't believe this old army's ever gonna move.
I've gotten ready to move 8 times in the last 2 weeks, and we ain't moved yet.
All you gotta do is sit down and wait as quiet as you can. Then pretty soon you'll find out I was right.
Good Lord.
So they were going to move at last.
Thunder.
Like as not, this story will turn out just like the others did.
Not much it won't. Not much it won't.
Shucks.
Oh, you'll see fighting this time. My boy, well, there'll be regular out-and-out fighting. They're saying everybody's taking off for Richmond, and they're leaving us here to fight all the Johnnies. They're raising blazes all over the camp.
Jim,
What?
how do you think the regiment will do?
Oh, they'll fight all right, I guess, after they once get used to it.
He made fine use of the third person.
There's been heaps of fun poked at them because they're new, of course. Hardly any of them done real fighting before, like me. Most of them younger than me, but most of them like you. They'll fight all right, I guess.
You think any of the boys will run?
Oh, there'll be a few of them will run, but there's them kind in every regiment, especially when they first go under fire. They call the regiment fresh fish and mule drivers. But the boys come from good stock, and most of them will fight like fun after once they get shooting.
Oh, you think you know everything.
You know I don't give a good hoot what you think.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim.
Never said I knew everything.
No, you never did.
Did I, Henry?
No, sir.
You heard me say I know everything?
Sit down, Jim.
So why is this lunkhead saying?
Jim.
That's what I'd like to know.
Jim, did you ever think you might run yourself, Jim?
Me? Run? Well, I thought it might get too hot for Jim Conklin in some of them scrimmages. And if a whole lot of boys started to run, why, I suppose I'd start and run.
No.
Yes, I would.
Oh, come on.
And I tell you, once I started to run, I'd run like the devil and make no mistake.
You mean it?
Sure shooting.
The youth felt the gratitude for those words from his friend.
But if everyone was a standing and a fighting, why, I'd stand and fight. By Jiminy, I would.
Henry had a serious problem. He lay in his bunk pondering upon it. He tried to mathematically prove to himself that he would not even run from battle. A little panic fear grew in his head.
Good Lord. What's the matter with me?
He told himself that he was not formed for a soldier, that he was different from the rest. He heard his friend Wilson bragging and boasting.
You're going to do great things, I suppose, Wilson.
I suppose I'll do like the rest. I'm going to try like thunder.
How do you know you won't run when the time comes?
Run? Run? The man that bets on my running will lose his money, that's all.
Oh, shucks. You ain't the bravest man in the world, are you?
I said I was going to do my share of the fighting. That's what I said. Who are you anyhow? You talk as if you thought you was Napoleon Bonaparte.
What is the matter with me?
As he sweated in the pain of these thoughts, he could hear the men in the next tent betting on his outcome of the battle.
I bet 5.
Make it 6.
7.
7 goes.
The next morning, Jim woke Henry up.
Come on, Henry.
What's going on?
Oh, you'll see soon enough.
Before he was entirely awake, he found himself running down the road to a battlefield.
You hear that firing, Jim?
Henry was frightened as he ran with his comrades. He tried to think.
I didn't want to do this. The government forced me to be here. They're taking us out to be slaughtered. This is a trap. They don't know what they're doing. These generals are stupid.
Shrill and passionate words came to his lips, but he gripped his outcry at his throat.
It's no use. Even if the men were more scared than me, they would just laugh at my warning.
The brigade was halted in the fringe of a grove. The men crouched among the trees and pointed their restless guns. A shell like the devil went over the heads of the reserve.
Here they come! Here they come!
Here they come!
The enemy ran forward, giving shrill yields, stooping and swinging their rifles. A hapless general shook his hat and shouted,
"You've got to hold them back! You've got to hold them back!
Oh, we're in for it now.
Reserve.
We're in for it now.
Reserve your fire, boys! Don't shoot till I tell you. Wait till they get up close. Don't be fools. Now fire! Fire!
Henry suddenly lost concern for himself. A burning roar filled his ears. He became consumed by a red rage.
Well, why don't they support us? Why don't they send us support? What do they think?
At last, an exulting yell went along the quivering line.
Well, we've held them back. We've held them back.
Darned if we did it.
We've held them back. Gee, ain't it hot, hey?
You bet. I've never seen such dumb hotness.
But all of a sudden, cries of amazement broke up along the ranks.
Oh my God!
Oh, say, this is too much of a good thing.
I didn't come here to fight the whole rebel army.
We can't stand a second banging. We can't stand it.
The youth stared. Surely he thought this impossible thing, war, was about to happen.
Why can't somebody send us supports?
They must be machines made of steel. This was a mistake. This can't happen.
Henry saw some of the men throw down their rifles and run away. There was no shame in their face. They ran like rabbits. The youth began to speed toward the rear. He ran like a madman.
I've got to go get away. Methodical idiots, fools. Run! Run! Look at those gunners! Don't you see? You'll all be dead. Dead! At the top of the hill, I can see. They're going like sheep to the slaughter. What kind of men are they anyhow? How can they keep fighting? Fools! Don't you understand? There's the general. He doesn't understand how impossible this all is. If I stay here a while, maybe I can tell him. I could tell him. Any fool could see that if we don't retreat while they have the chance.
Yes, yes, by heavens they have. Yes, by heavens, they've held them back.
What?
They held them now. We've got them sure.
Held them? But that's impossible.
They've held them back, by heavens.
By thunder, we did it!
By heavens. They won after all. How could they do that to me? I ran. Yes, I did. By thunder, I ran. Of course I ran. I had to save myself. Well, didn't I? Stop. Stop that infernal firing. I'm a little part of this army, and I saved myself for the army. Yeah, anybody could see that. Look, a squirrel. Now, don't you see that? There's a sign. That squirrel didn't stay to be hit, did he? No, he didn't. He took off running as fast as his legs could carry him, just like me. It's only natural for a man to run when he knows he's going to be hit. The sun. Strange that it still shines as if nothing was wrong.
The youth went into the deep thickets.
It's peaceful here.
At length, he reached a place where the arching boughs made a kind of chapel. He softly pushed aside the green doors and entered. There was a religious half-light. He was being looked at by a dead man. The man was seated with his back against a tree, the eyes staring at the youth. Over the gray skin of the face ran little ants. Henry burst into a run. He imagined that the dead man was screaming after him from his chapel of green.
Henry! Henry!
Finally, Henry came to a road from which he could see a column of blood-stained, wounded men marching. The suffering men were cursing, groaning, and wailing with pain.
Sing a song of victory, a pocket full of bullets, 25 dead men baked in a pie.
The youth joined the crowd and marched along with it.
It was a pretty good fight, wasn't it?
There was a tattered man covered with dust and blood. The youth wished that he too had a wound, a red badge of courage.
It was a pretty good fight, wasn't it?
What?
Was a pretty good fight, wasn't it?
Yes.
Damn if I ever see fellers go fight so. Law, how they did fight. I know it'd turn out this way. You can't lick them boys. No, sir. There's fighters, they be. They didn't run, did they? No, sir. They fought and fought and fought. Where you hit, old boy?
What?
Where you hit at?
Hit? Well, I'm not hit.
Not hit?
I guess I'm just lucky, that's all.
You're lucky, all right.
One of the men had the gray seal of death upon him. His hands were bloody from what he had pressed them against his wound.
God! Jim Conklin!
Hello, Henry.
Oh, Jim. Oh, Jim.
Where you been, Henry? I thought maybe you got keeled over. There's been thunder to pay today.
Oh, Jim. Oh, Jim, oh, Jim.
You know, I was out there, and Lord, what a circus. And by Jiminy, I got shot. I'll tell you what I'm afraid of, Henry. I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid I'll fall down and then, you know them dumb artillery wagons? Their lake is now to run over me. That's what I'm afraid of.
I'll take good care of you, Jim. I'll take care of you. I swear to God.
Will you, Henry?
Yes. I'll tell you. I'll take care of you, Jim.
Just pull me out of the road. I'd do it for you. Wouldn't I, Henry?
Lean on me, Jim. Just lean on me.
No, leave me be. Just leave me be.
I better take you out of the road, Jim. There's a battery coming. God, Jim, how can you keep walking like this? Jim!
Oh, the fields. Oh.
God, don't run, Jim. Jim, what makes you this way? You're hurt bad, Jim.
No, don't touch me. Leave me be. Leave me be.
Turning his head swiftly, the youth saw his friend running in a staggering and stumbling way toward a little clump of bushes.
Where are you going, Jim? What are you thinking about? Where are you going? Tell me, won't you, Jim?
The tall soldier turned and, lurching dangerously, went on.
Jim!
The youth followed.
Leave me be for a minute. Leave me be.
At last, Henry saw him stop and stand motionless.
Jim, what's the matter with you, Jim?
There was a silence.
Leave me be.
Finally, the chest of the doomed soldier began to heave. For a moment, the tremors of his legs caused him to dance a hideous sort of jig. His arms beat wildly about his head. The tall soldier stretched to his full height, then fell to the ground.
Jim! Oh God, oh God, oh God!
As the flap of the blue jacket fell away from the body, Henry could see that his side looked as if it had been chewed by wolves. The youth turned toward the battlefield.
Damnation!
Suddenly the youth saw dark waves of blue were sweeping down upon him.
What? What's the matter?
Say where the plank road. Where's the plank road?
But what's the matter? Is the war lost? Tell me. Tell me what's the matter. What's going on?
Let me go! Let me go!
Tell me why.
Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! All right, then.
A soldier brings his rifle down with a crushing blow on Henry's head.
You seem in a pretty bad way, boy. Well, I'm going your way. The whole gang's going your way, I guess. I can give you a lift. What regiment you belong to, eh?
The
304th New York? Oh, you're a far way off then. Come on. This was the most mixed up fighting I ever did see. Men scattered all over the place. It'll be a miracle if half of them find their regiments tonight. Oh, there they go with an officer, I guess. Look at his hand a dragon. He's got all the war he wants, I bet. He won't be talking about him and his reputation and all when they go sawing off his arm. You know, there was a boy killed in my company today that I thought the world of. Jack was a nice fella. By ginger, it hurt like thunder to see old Jack get knocked flat. There you are. See that fire?
Uh-huh.
See that fire? Right over there? That's where your regiment is. Goodbye, old boy. Good luck to you.
Who goes there? Who is that?
It's me, Wilson. It's Henry.
Henry? Henry Fleming? Well, old boy. By ginger, I'm glad to see you. I'd give you up for a goner. I thought you was dead for sure.
Yes. Yeah, I've had an awful time. I've been all over, way over on the right. There's terrible fighting over there. I had an awful time. I got separated from the regiment. Over on the right, I got shot.
What? Got shot?
Just grazed a little in the head.
Well, why didn't you say so? Poor old boy, we'll fix you up.
I had never seen such fighting. Awful time. I don't see how I could have got separated from the regiment. I got shot too.
Here, take my blanket. We'll see how you're feeling in the morning.
Thunder.
Well, Henry, old man, how do you feel this morning?
Oh, Lord. I feel Pretty bad.
Shoot. I'd hope you'd feel all right this morning. Let's see the bandage. I guess it slipped.
Gosh darn it! Why in thunderation can't you be more easy? I'd rather you stand off and throw guns at it. Oh, now go slow and don't act like you were nailing down a carpet.
Oh, quit your belly aching. You sound like an old woman.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, old boy. Come on now. Have a drink. You'll feel better. Well, Henry, what do you think the chances are? You think we'll wallop them?
Day before yesterday, you would have bet you could lick the whole kit and caboodle all by yourself.
Would I? Well, I guess I would. I guess I was a pretty big fool in those days. All the officers say we got the Rebs in a pretty tight box.
From where I was yesterday, it looked as if we were getting a pretty good pounding yesterday. Oh, Jim Conklin is dead.
Jim Conklin?
Shot in the side.
You don't say so. Jim Conklin, poor cuss.
The youth saw that he would suffer no reproach from his friend. He had performed his mistakes in the dark. No one had actually seen him run, so he was still a man. The youth's regiment was marched to relieve a command that had been long in the same wet trenches.
By Jiminy, we're generaled by a lot of lunkheads.
You know, maybe it's not their fault. Not altogether. They're doing the best they know how. It's just bad luck, that's all.
Well, don't we fight like the devil? Don't we do all that men can? No man dare say we don't fight like the devil. No man will ever say it.
Henry, do you think you fought the whole battle yesterday all by yourself?
Why? No, I don't think I fought the whole battle yesterday.
Ted Hut!
Shh! General!
Now you boys shut right up. You've been jawing like a bunch of hens. All you got to do is fight, and you'll get plenty of that in about 10 minutes. Ceasefire! Ceasefire!
Henry! 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 You infernal fool! Don't you know enough to quit when there ain't nothing to shoot at? Good God! You all right? There ain't nothing the matter with you, is there?
No.
He saw that his comrades now looked again upon him as a war devil. He was now a hero, and he had not been aware of the process. He had slept, and awakening found himself a knight.
Request permission to go for water, sir.
Wait, I'll go with you. Oh, shucks, no water here. I thought there was a stream. Shh! The general. Shh!
The enemy is forming on the right. Let's be ready when they charge. Now, up there's old General Waterside. They think they'll break through.
What? What's he saying?
They're gonna charge.
What troops can you spare? The 304th? Yes, they'll do. Maybe.
He says he's gonna put us in on it. Our regiment.
You don't say.
Shh.
They fight like a bunch of mule drivers.
He says like we fight like a bunch of mule drivers.
So we're going to charge.
That's what he says.
Henry, we'll get swallowed. Come on, Henry. We got to do it.
Charge! Come on, you fools! Come on! Come on! Charge!
We'll all get killed if we stay here.
This way, this way. We got to get across that lot.
Over the field went the scurrying mass of soldiers. In that scramble, they saw that the color sergeant flinched suddenly. They lunged for the flag. The color sergeant was dead. The corpse would not relinquish its trust. There was a grim struggle.
Give it to me.
No! Let me keep it. I'll have it, I say.
The youth walked back into the battle with the mob of men. The fast and angry fleeings went back and forth, but the youth continued to the front, holding the flag. At last, the enemy began to weaken. Henry's regiment gazed about with looks of uplifted pride. They had proven the general wrong.
Henry, did you hear? Lieutenant says the general's mad as blazes.
What in thunderation for?
General says if we had gone another 100 feet farther, we might have made a pretty good success of it all.
What? Well, we went as far as we could. I wonder what he does want. He must think we went out there and played marbles.
I should say we did have awful luck, but Henry, that's not all. I heard the colonel talking. You know, the one way down at the 27th? Oh, Henry, you just ought to heard.
Heard what?
Well, he was talking to a lieutenant right by me, and it was a damnedest thing. He says, Mr. Hasbrook, he says, by the way, who was that lad carried the flag? He says, well, that there was Henry Fleming, he says, and he's a Jim Hickey, he says. Those were his very words. And he says, well, now I saw him and that feller Wilson keeping that flag the way out in front. He says, well, says the colonel, they deserve to be major generals. They do, major generals. What do you think of that?
Oh, you go to blazes.
It's the gosh darn truth, Henry.
The other men exchanged a secret glance of joy and congratulations. The youth, still the bearer of the colors, became deeply absorbed as a spectator. Standing on a hill above the battle, he could see the desperate rushes of men. To and fro they swelled.
They screamed and yelled like maniacs.
The men burst out in barbed cries of rage and pain.
The regiment fled extravagantly.
The colonel came running along the back of the line.
We must charge them. We must charge them.
The youth sprang to action.
He kept the bright colors to the front.
He felt the daring spirit of a savage.
Henry, we're going to have to pull back. That band on the right, they're just not moving.
The youth centered the gaze of his soul upon the other flag. Its possession would be high pride.
Ah! The flag! Ma, I'm going to enlist.
Don't be a fool, Henry.
You think any of the boys will run, Jim?
A man that bets in my running will lose his money. That's all.
What's the matter with me?
Sing a song of victory, pocket full of bullets.
I'll take care of you, Jim.
5 and 20 dead men baked in a pie.
I'll take care of you. I swear to God I will.
Well, don't we fight like the devil.
Jim?
Ha! They fight like a bunch of mule drivers.
Mule drivers?
Don't we do all that men can?
Mule drivers?
Mule drivers. They fight like a bunch of mule drivers.
Ah! The flag!
They were not just mule drivers. He had been to where there was red blood and black at night. He had been to touch the great death and found that, after all, it was but a great death. He was a man.
Well, it's all over.
By God, it is.
Within a little while, the regiment received the order to retrace its way.
Come on, boys. We're headed back.
Oh, Lord.
Here we go again. It's getting cloudy, Wilson. Well, we both did good. I'd like to see the fool would say we didn't do good.
We deserve to be major generals.
Go to blazes with your major generals.
Say, Lieutenant, who was that feller keeping that flag out to the front? Who could that feller be?
That's a big lie, Wilson.
Why, that there's Henry Fleming. He's a Jim Hickey. And he and that Wilson feller, well, they deserve to be major generals. Major generals.
It rained. The procession of weary soldiers became a bedraggled train of despondent men marching. Through the mud, another wretched sky, yet the youth smiled. He had rid himself of the red sickness of battle. The nightmare was in the past. Though the hosts of leaden rain clouds came a golden ray of sun. Today's performance was reenacted by RG Productions and starred Matt Lindstrom as Henry, John McLaughlin, Jan Mahowski, Jay Rattle, J.R. Trimark, and Jody Diedrich on sound effects. Music by Morgan Hunter, sound engineer Rick Haggerty, directed by Nita Hunter, adapted by Catherine Schultz Miller. I'm your announcer, Dan Sticker. Special thank you to Jason Rimkus from KCM and the Chicago Light Artillery and the Michigan Engineers who are appearing today as part of the Kenosha Civil War Museum's Living History Day. A very special thanks to the Kenosha Civil War Museum for allowing us the opportunity to perform this production.
We are marching to the field, boys, we're going to the fight, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
At the risk of offending everybody, I'd like to just call out 3 performances today that I thought were really special. First of all, welcome to the group, Matt Lindstrom. This is his first time on stage behind radio. Awesome. Jody Diedrich joined the group 2 days ago on sound effects and Thank you. And over here on the computer with that amazing music, my daughter, Morgan Hunter. And thank you. That was an awesome performance.
We was Jim Hickeys, we was.